Hello everyone, myself Jeevarajan Kumar, and I'm so excited to present in Scottish Summit 2021. Today, I'd like to walk you through on what is customer insights and how to set up a customer insights for your organization and how to consume the customer insights data in your business applications. First, we'd like to thank our sponsors, ScriptRunner, DQ Global, Proximo 3, Redspire, Agilicis, and Hitachi Solutions for their support. I work in Avanade, Singapore, as a solution architect. I'm a Microsoft Business Application MVP since 2019 and also a Microsoft certified trainer. And I'm also a community lead for Singapore BizApps user group and ASEAN's BizApp user group. This is my social media handle for Twitter and LinkedIn. For today's agenda, we're going to see the introduction about customer insights, why it is needed, and for the organizations, and then how it is set up, right from data ingestion to enrichment, and how to use the customer insights data in our other business application systems, and few more points about customer insights. So before proceeding to see how to set up a customer insights, we need to understand what is the current problem without a smart tools like customer insights. The major problem is one of the biggest challenges that organizations face today is data silos. The data can be, for the organizations, it can be very difficult to understand the customer and their needs when the data is scattered across multiple systems. For example, the data can be in transaction system, it can be in loyalty management system or POS, it can be coming from POS system as well. So in this case, it is very difficult for the organizations to track the customer journey and keep them engaged. And with customer insights, we can eliminate the data silos by ingesting data from multiple data sources and unifies them into a single customer profile, which from within the customer profile, we can track data for different demographics and identify trends based on the customer's record. And then the data sources might include, as I said, traditional transactional data and from other different systems as well. And it's not about just unifying the data, also the tool provides an options. Tool itself has the AI capabilities that turns on the data to give the required data, that the measures that's needed for the organization. And with the proper data, we will be able to deliver a personalized customer experience for our customers. And it also, the data can be consumed in different business processes, which can be leveraged on. And the customer insights approach is the first is the data. We have data from internal systems and external. Typically, organization can have data from internal systems and multiple external systems, and they will have a presentation systems like a mobile phone, website, or chatbot, something like that. And the data unification process happens in between. This is the data unification process and the insights that happens in the customer insight. So you can see the data from different systems has been connected or pushed into the customer insights with multiple connectors, which is called ingestion. And then we'll do match and merge, and then enrich the data. And we can use complex Azure machine learning models as well based on the organization's needs. And this can be consumed by our business application or third-party application, and then present to our customers. So the whole customer insights process is going to be an iterative process. The first, the data is going to be ingested, and the code it is going to be stored in tables called entities, and we will be defining relationships between these entities, and eventually we'll be building a unified customer profile, and then configuring activities. Basically, activities is a timeline of the records of the customer interactions from the different sources, and then we will configure measures and KPIs, segments, and we can also export the data, customer data, to different designations, and we can execute this on our business systems as well. So talking from the processes involved behind setting up a customer insights is this. First step, ingest data. Step 2, create a customer profile. Step 3, define activities. And step 4, define relationships. And if you want, we can enrich and we can create measures and segments. And from the product standpoint, this is the detailed architecture of customer insights. At the base, we have customer insights entities and data ingested from the source systems and powerful Azure machine learning. And above that, we have a processing layer, which will be using this below data sets to create and export the data via API to the consumption layers here, like Power Apps, Customer Insights app, or Biz Apps. So next, what are steps to create a unified customer profile? So here we're going to go in detail to see the data ingestion, unification, and setting up activity, relationships, measures, and segments with the demo. So when I say demo, we are not going to see we are not going to see from the beginning how it's set up, because it's going to take some time. So I already have an environment set up with all this data, but I will show you how it is done. So before data ingestion, there is a preliminary step, which is optional, of course, based on the customer data. So this is the step, that typically for customers, when we collect data from different sources, these data need to be collected and refined into something that can be consumed by the application, right? So this process is critical to ensure that data is used appropriately. And this process is referred to as ETL in typical terminology, to extract, data extraction, and data transformation, and data loading. So data extraction is nothing but extracting raw data from the different data sources, such as legacy systems, cloud environments, or CRM and ERP applications, data warehouses, etc. And then data transformation, it is done to improve the data quality and accessibility through process such as data cleansing, standardizations, sorting, something like that. And then loading the data into the new location from where we will be ingesting into the customer insights. So when we talk about customer insights, data ingestion, let me also open the customer insights. So this is a quick, this is where you land when you open a customer insight. So customer insights currently offers a 30 days trial as well. As you can see, I just have a 30 days trial created for this demo. And this is the end, a decent, a unified profile of the customers that I managed to create. But when you log into the first time, you're not going to have these data with you. So it's going to be, just some blank page here, which is going to ask you to prompt you to import data and then do the unified, the map, match, and merge, and then setting up search index to achieve this here. So first step, referring back to our presentation again, data ingestion, which is injecting data from different data sources, right? So there are three ways to import a data source. If you go data source here, and if you can add data, you can see you can import data from a file database, a Microsoft Azure services, or you can connect to a common data model, or you can connect to a CDS as well. And then once you added the data, so what I have done here is I've got the publicly available data. And when you add the data source, the important thing that you need to make sure is transforming the data. So for example, so if I talk about getting data from POS, I'll just show you, I'll edit and show how my data source looks. Yeah, so I added the data, and you can see the raw data that has been imported, and this is a Power Query, as you can see, and we can do a little bit of massaging here, like that it's a date time value, so you can mark it as a date time, and if it's a currency, or you can just make it as a whole number, something like that. And sorry, currency, and then if it's a whole number, you make it as a whole number, and then you can give a name, and you can save it, and it will take some time to digest the information. So right now I'm going to skip that because I already done, and I already have some data with me here. So after data is ingested, the next step is unification process. The goal of unification is to separate data sources and unify them to a primary single customer data set, providing a more complex view of your customers, right? So because not all, and the first step is the matching data, and why we need to match the data, that not all the data sets that we imported from data sources might not are not needed for the to build the unified customer profile. And as you can see here, since we are using e-commerce and loyalty customers that we got from the data sources, and we are not using other POS or something like that. The reason is because these two will have typically contain all the customer related information and details that we want to build the unified customer profile. So as you can see, the first step would be, once we added, you can add more data here, and then by editing fields you can select the data sets, and you can choose which data sets you want. You see, I haven't added a web reviews or POS at the moment. I added only loyalty customers and e-commerce for this. And once you have this, you basically click on this entity and select the primary key which you like to which is a unique value for that entity. And same applies for the loyalty customers as well. So once this is done, you save it, and then the next step would be matching the data. So when you come the first time, you're going to have these two with something called rules needed. You need to create, it is going to prompt you to create more rules. You won't have this data here. It is going to prompt you to create a rule. So what is matching data first? So matching first is where we'll specify how to combine the data sources that we go to build the unified customer profile. So first step would be choosing the matching order. So when I say that, if you can see here, it says how it's going to merge, right? So match order. So the first thing is each match involves unifying two or more entities into a single entity and maintaining into a unique record, right? So when you define a match order, you define which entity you can choose as a primary entity and which entity you choose as a secondary entity. And then you define the rules for the match pair. So basically this match rules will dictate the logic by which specific pair of these entities will be matched. So as you can see here, I have e-commerce contacts. I said I have e-commerce, and I also I'm choosing the full name from e-commerce, and I'm also selecting the full name from loyalty scheme, and I'm executing this. I'm using the normalization of a phone and name because it's about full name, and then I can say the precision. This precision is basically gives you whether you want to be very precise when comparing data between two databases, two tables, or it can be high level match or medium level precision, or it can be just low level. For here we'll just leave high level, and if you want we can see a preview how much records been matched between these two data sources from the loyalty customers full name and e-commerce connect full names. As you can see, the system is a bit smart enough to detect the right match as well. You see that for this name it has a Ronald. There's some typo here, but here it seems to be fine. But system is detected and identified as a match. And here you can also have multiple conditions. As you can see, the condition one we had we are matching the full name between these two data source, and here we are matching the emails between these two systems again. Okay, once you define this, and that's this how your rules are set basically, and it is going to take a while after you run it, and it's going to come up with this values here. So it's going to say how much is the unique source records that we got from the two different sources, that is 10,192, and then you can see matched and non-matched records, and then this is the matched records, right? And then yeah, and then the next step would be merging the data. Yeah, so the purpose of the merge phase is to reconcile the conflicting data. So conflicting data might be a customer name in two different data sources, but it shows up slightly different in each different data set, like just what we saw. So adding a merge attribute, we're going to say, even though there's a bit of mismatch, it's actually the system is smart enough to identify they both are actually the same customer. For that, we need to define the merge here, right? So how do we do the merge? As you can see here, let's say if I want to run the merge on the full name, I can just go here, edit. So I basically select, what is the two fields I'm trying to let know the system that just combine these two and give me the unified customer full name, right? And here you can also specify the priority, basically ranking. So for me here, the e-commerce system has a better data quality. I mean, the data storage is more reliable than the loyalty customer system. So I've chosen the e-commerce as the primary. I've given high rank for the e-commerce when compared to the loyalty management system here, right? And you can keep adding this for multiple attributes here, fields. That's how you can see once you selected and done this, you can see this ranking here, right? So I have done for full name, and system automatically does this. Okay, an important thing is I have not done all of these things, right? System automatically created full name, email, gender, telephone as such. If there is something that I would like to go and change, I can always go and edit it and change it. Okay, this is not something each and everything that I created. System is smart enough to match it, identify it, and merge it as well. Same applies for matching as well. You know, once you choose the primary key, this will be combined, and it will just ask me to prompt me to add a rule. So again, coming back to merge, you can see here we have different databases from data sets from two different entities, and the merged records over here, right? And if there is something that you like to add, this you can see this data source is coming from my Dynamics 365 customer service. So I have imported the contact record from customer service, and if I want to do any merging here, I can just add one of this. If I just do this, it will gonna add here, and I can establish my merging as well. As you can see, I have added the contact ID here from my customer service, and I've done merging for that for one of the fields called entity image URL here. All right. So going back to our slides. That's what it is. The data we just saw data ingestion and data unification. And next step is we have activities and relationships and measures, right? So if I go back to system, okay. Before that, what is activities? So the activities are typical activity that customer has done in all these different systems. So basically, in our unified customer profile, we're going to have the combined timeline of activities that associated with the customer. And then relationships, as it says, it's pretty straightforward. It's basically to have a relationships between the entities that is being imported. So before what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show the same in the system. And before going and seeing, I'm showing the attributes and the activities and the relationships. I would like to show how now this is internally stored in the system. If I go to entities, you can see here the data sources that we imported is it's only 5, and total entities is just 6, right? Here 2, and the rest we have 4. But if you see here, the system has created few more customer insight specific entities to store the data in between. So when I create measures, you can see it has created one more entity to capture that measure information, and same applies for the segments as well. And if we create an activity, it will be stored in the system as an entity as well. Okay, and we'll see shortly. And you can see the entities that we created is stored here. So I'll just start with the relationships first before entities. So you can see that I have set up a few relationships based on my data. So the first one is, you can see the source entity I have made as a POS, and it has a many-to-one relationship between POS and the customer insights unified customer profile that has been generated. Okay, so if you edit it, you can see I'm just saying that many POS purchases will be pointing to one customer, basically the unified customer. So does here from POS to loyalty customers, and e-commerce purchases to customers, and then website reviews. One customer can have multiple website review. So that's what I have mentioned here. So I've chosen my website review data sets, the website field, and then the e-commerce contacts from the contact. And then I decided as a many-to-one, and which field is that going to be? In website, it's called user ID, and in e-commerce, it's called contact ID. And those two fields will be, there will be a relationship created against these two fields. And once you set up the basic relationships, The next step is to add the activities as defined here. So here I am trying to get the activity of the customers from the e-commerce, and also the activities of POS, and also from reviews. So if I open one of this, you can see I've chosen the entity as a website review, which in fact we ingested in the first step. And then the primary key would be user ID for this, and the few details, right? The mandatory information that that's needed by the system to mark it properly. The timestamp, which is the timestamp, which field defines the timestamp of that particular activity, is called review date in my review system. And then the event is basically the activity type display based on what is done. And then you can see the type, again I chosen already, no, to review. And you can see the relationships are already selected by itself based on our previous step, which we saw now. Otherwise, you will be creating a new relationships here. And so the same applies for e-commerce as well. And for the e-commerce system, the purchase ID is going to be my primary key, and then I have my purchase on as a timestamp. And then I also need to capture more details. So I'll say in subject, I already have a field called subject in my e-commerce, so I'm just using it as a details. And I'm using the same relationship that I just configured in this step. The system will automatically detect the relationships. You don't need to explicitly specify here when you create the activities, right? And once the activities and relationships are defined, you're gonna have, so one step back. So earlier I told that when you log in for the first time, you are not going to see this unified customer profile, right? You're going to have only the system is going to prompt you few steps to do few steps to see this unified customer profile. So after we completed our unify process, and by the time you have completed all the prerequisite to populate this data, the customer data, the last and final step would have been to get the unified customer profile would have been search and filter index. So you come here and then you do search and filter index. So this is basically to let the system know and what is the criteria I'm going to search, right? So it basically internally creates a powerful Azure search to get the data for us. So if you can see, filtering option, then okay, before that, if I want to add more fields to search, I can click here and I can add no search based on gender or street address, something like that. And if you want to add more filter options to, let's say, full name, I can just say no. I'll just say value sorted and something like that. So after you define the search and you run it, and then your unified customer profile is ready, basically. So if I go and search here, for example, Seattle, you can see all the customers from Seattle. It's quite quick and faster as well. So what we were just trying to do in the activities and relationships is to get this timeline. So the moment you complete the unification, you are going to see only this window on the left side, right? This thing is going to be empty. We're going to see step by step how I built this, and this one. Right now, we just built the by configuring the activities. We have just built this timeline here. As you can see, it captures the data from online purchase. It captures data from website review, and that's why you see two from e-commerce and two from reviews, and know what they have done, whatever activities they have done basically. And of course, you can have the filters and to see when you have a huge amount of activities tracking here. This customer has only 3. Maybe if I pick someone, they might have more. This guy also had 3. Anyways, that's the point, right? And then the next thing that we're going to create, we're going to see is measures. Going back to slide again. So what is measures? So to truly gain a 360 view or 360 degree perspective of your customers, you need to track key performance indicators. So measures are nothing but KPIs. It will help you to track the KPIs across all data sources that you have ingested. So by defining KPIs across all data sources, you can get a clear picture of the customer overall. So customer insights includes 3 different measure types that can be created. Depending on which type of measures that we define, they can be used in different parts of the application. We'll see that shortly. And the 3 types of measures are customer attribute, customer measure, and business measures. So customer attribute is the measures that represent a single field of each customer. They typically reflect a score, value, a state of such a customer, lifetime value, total sales, something like that. And customer measure, the second one, is to provides an input that is related to an individual customer's behavior with breakdown by dimensions. And business measures, it helps to track items that are related to your business performance and overall health. It's not specific. This might include items such as average sales per customer or monthly active users at organization level. So we're going to just quickly see that in the system now. So if you can see, this is a customer measures. You see, it says for this person, what is the average web purchase value that he does, and what is the average store purchases value that he has been doing, right? And if I go and pick some other customer, I'm just open random customers here. You see, it's quite changes for this customer, right? According based on what he does, what he or she does. So what we are seeing here is, once it is set up, it's going to show up in the contacts here. But where do you set up a measure is from here, right? So if I open one of the existing measures that I have set up, you can see that I just choose what operation I need to do, whether sum or average or count or max, something like that. And once I've done that, I choose the attribute. It will prompt me to choose which entity that I need to pick it from, and then which eligible fields for that for the sum. As you can see, sum cannot be done on dates, of course, so the system is already populating the right field. And then I choose that and I save and publish, and that's all. Then you have already defined your measures. So each and every operations here, like unification or activities or measure segments, once you save and you run, it's going to take a few minutes of time, like a minute or two. That's why I am not showing, I'm not building it from the scratch, because it's going to take so much time. And so if you open another purchase, another measure, is going to be very similar. So I'm here trying to find the average of the web purchase, which we just saw. So from the e-commerce, right? And that's how it is done here. You can combine multiple things and do your math operations here as well. You can plus or minus, do percentages, merge two values and show it in one measure, basically. That's how in real time it will be used anyways. And the next thing is segments, right? So what is segment now? So as you can see, the segmentation capability in customer insights will enable to group your customers based on demographic, transactional behavior, and transaction data. Or you can also use segmentation to target, basically to promote, for promotional campaigns or sales activities and customer support, something like that. So that's the use of segment. So in the system, if you see what segment is exactly, if I go here, this is segment. You see. So who are my high value online customers? The 745 customers, and in summer promotion there I managed to run a campaign and got 289 members for that. So if you see in detail, it shows who are they, and some information that has been set up for them. So if I go, it's done a while back, I think so. Yeah, right. So you can see how much time it took and what is the members and all those things. And you can download this if you want, and you can edit this and change the segment as well. So if I go and edit, I'll have a provision to change the existing segment. As you can see, I've run a summer promotion campaign, and I chose my data from my unified. This customer insight is unified entity, which we got after doing unification process, right? This customer insight, you can see I am doing for my campaign. Basically, I'm trying to get the average store purchase value, whoever the customers that have greater than 113, and then who falls between certain age. Basically I'm trying to target customers of certain age group and who has done some who is regular buyers of a product, something like that. And same goes for the other one as well. So this is just showing high value online customer. Whoever have purchased more than 138, I'll just show them here, something like that. Okay. With that, let's go back to our slides. Okay, and next few things is enrichment, right? So what is enrichment? I'll just quickly show you. I'll just show you. Basically, enrichment is, you can use it is few APIs that system offers, like first-party APIs and third-party system within the customer insights, which will help us to know our customers, brand affinities and the interests that they have, so that the organization can use that data to nurture or for the nurturing and marketing strategies based on the customer's interests. And customer insight brand interest enrichment uses online search data from Microsoft Graph API, as I just said, and also these affinities are determined based on data from people with similar demographics based on their age, location, gender, something like that. So if you see the same in system, what is enrichment in the first place? You see, these two are enrichment. So I have created a brand affinity and also interest affinity, and you can see based on this person's gender and the location and age, it's saying the people with this similar data are more interested in Starbucks, right? So let's say we are a coffee organization. We are trying to understand what is their customers' interest. So they have more interest over Starbucks right now, and their interest would be on high on the food and high on the non-alcoholic beverages, and medium on meat and online grocery shopping from different based on our data that we capture. So how to configure this is we go to enrichment, and you can see that I have configured two enrichments now for brand and interest. So if I go and edit it, sorry, there's a military fighter jet crossing by, and that's why you're hearing this noise. All right, so here I can choose my own industry. I can just choose the industry and it just gets the data, or I can go and choose my own and select more data here. Right, so if I go and say it's going to say Tosta Coffee, something like that. So, and this uses the Microsoft Graph API as said, and then you basically choose the data. Like I'm going to choose my customer data, and then from there I'll say what are the demographics that I need to use to pull this interest. That would be date of birth, gender, and then location. I'm going to use the country, postal code, city, and state. And again you save and run, and eventually you will have this data that we just saw now. So if you go and see, there are a few more apart from brands and interests. There are demographics that is offered by third-party Experian, and then location data and company data as well. Of course, to do this, we need to have a subscription from them to use their services here, and that is enrichment. And then we also have predictions and the custom models. So if I go back to slide again, so next is prediction. So what is predictions? So the prediction feature in Customer Insights allows you to create a predicted value that can enhance your understanding of a customer. That's the end objective. So it can be a simple on and off or true or false style predictions, or it can be a complex predictions, as well, using the custom models here. So Customer Insights allows to do the prediction in two different ways. One from the customer entity Other one is from the quick rate segments. And the customer model is kicks into the picture when the out of box prediction like a customer churn is not enough. So now this defines the base, how to set up a proper customer insight data. Now we, as a quick recap, we ingested data from different data sources. We did a unification with 3 EMs, map, match, and merge. And then we did a search and indexing filter so that we got our unified customer profile. And then to build the timeline, we configured the activities. And to find the measures or KPIs, we configured measures. And for the organization level, we configured segments. And to see the customer's interest and brand affinity, we configured enrichment, right? So that's a quick walkthrough on how to set up a customer insight. We have a few more things to see, and we're running out of time. So once we configure the customer insights, you can also export the data, that customer insights offers, right? So these are the different export destinations that customer insights offers, and you can I just flash it for a second. So you can see it's we have used actually this one in we're going to see that shortly, and then I'll show you how we have used this and this. Yeah, there are more things to do. So talking about another important thing is refreshing data, right? So how we how the customer insights refreshes data sources. So there are 3 types or 3 ways it does it. One is scheduled data refreshes. As the name says, it's it based on scheduled interval that we configure. The system will do the scheduled refreshes. Or in case of incremental refreshes, right? The system refreshes the data in small subset from the data source based on the incremental refresh settings. So with the incremental settings refresh, only data sources imported using Power Query is supported for the incremental data refresh, right? And okay, and an important thing to consider in scheduled data refreshes is, so when the scheduled data refresh runs, the key 3 things happen behind the screen. One is data is pulled from the data source, and then data is unified, and data is enriched, whatever we have done, right? So based on these factors, and number of data sources and volume of data skills, it can vary from minute to hours as well. And the third type of data refresh happens is real-time data ingestion. So you can ingest any profile activity related information in real time. So real-time operations takes place after data unification has happened, like what we saw now, and for the unified customer profile, right? So for this reason, the existing customer profile can be updated, but new profiles cannot be created with the real-time data ingestion. We have to do it from the system. So existing profiles cannot be deleted as well. Consequently, a real-time changes won't update measures, segments, and memberships, right? Again, I'm saying the real-time data ingestion will not update measures, segments, and enrichments. It has to be updated. It will be updated normal. It will be updated in the normal schedule refreshes. Okay. So there are 2 ways to do the real-time data ingestion. One is indirectly using the Customer 365 Insights connector, or directly. Oh, I think it's other way around. Yeah, I'm sorry. Directly through the programming code. Yeah, right. And next step is the final. Next step is to see how we can leverage the customer insights data. So these are the few ways to do that. So as we know that a customer insights is a powerful tool by now, and it helps providing valuable insights to our customers. So the thing is, it is not just the tool that your organization is going to leverage. Every time the users are not going to see the Dynamics 365 Customer Insight and use that, right? So the data has to be used in different business applications, right, to engage with the customers for your employees. So depending on what the goal is, your organization is going to leverage other application to perform tasks, such as sending the marketing materials, alerting a staff when a customer is at risk of churning, and you can enhance these other applications to deliver a better customer insight data. So customer insight also lets you to export data such as measures and segments and activities that we just configured. And depending on the services we want to leverage, there are different services available. For today, we're going to see how I used a customer service card and Power Apps connectors, and consume the data. So we'll see how the customer insights data can be used in Dynamics 365. So with the Customer Insights customer card add-in that is available from the app source, data can be captured in that is data that is captured in Dynamics 365 Customer Insights can be surfaced for each contact and recorded in Dynamics 365 sales or service applications, which we're going to see shortly. So the add-on is this, the add-in is this, which you can get it from the app source. So you can see, you can just search Customer Insights and it's going to show you this add-in. Just get it so that it will take a while to install in your environment. Once that is installed, you can see that from from a solution, and using the old UI, you can use the new one as well, doesn't matter. So if I open this, I can see that it will ask you to prompt you to log in. So basically your Customer Insights and your Dynamics 365 has to be in the same AD tenant, and then it will ask me to choose the Customer Insights instance, and then it is asking me to find a relevant field that matches the contact ID field. So for me, I have chosen this one, which is if you remember this entity data right that's coming from, I have ingested the data from the contact record of Dynamics 365. This one. So that is what I'm using it as a mapping here, and I can leave the account as entity because I'm not doing for any B2B scenario here. So just close this. So once you do that, the second step would be to set up a security roles for the users who's going to use, right? So if this is my user ID, and I can see there will be a security role called Customer Insights called Customizer to do the the customization. So once I give that, the third thing is to bring this value in our contact form. I need to do a little bit of customizations here. So I have added these 3 sections which you're seeing here, and then I have added just any text field should do that for you. So once you do that, just open this. And by the way, this choosing a custom control is currently available in classic UI only. It's not available in your new UI UCI. So what happens is when you do that, you won't see this. You'll be having only the text box default. So basically you have to add more control, and if you navigate, you can see the Customer Insights related information that we captured. Customer Insights demographic, enrichment control, or the intelligent control measures, so and so. So here I have used the Customer Insights measures control, and that's why you're seeing the measures here. Okay, the KPI. This person doesn't have the measures, but if there is something that you'll see here. And the demographics, I use the demographic, Customer Insights demographics, and here I use the Customer Insights timeline control. And that's how you consume the data from Customer Insights to your business applications. And now going back to the slide again. Okay, and the next thing is we'll see how we can also consume the data in Power Platform, right, or in Power Apps, Canvas app, something like that. It's pretty straightforward as well. It's relatively very straightforward. So if you see, I just imported an app that Microsoft that's publicly available in Microsoft website. So you can see that if I go and run this app, it basically tries, it goes and fetches the unified profile from the Customer Insights. So it is fetching this information, the unified customer profile, right? And that is stored in the entity, here, the customer entity in the Customer Insights. And you see the segments and measures that we created, it also gets stored as a separate entity, which means we can surface this data in any of our applications that consumes it. So if I go to my Power Apps, I can see, if I click on any of the resource here, it basically, okay, this person, yeah, it's bringing now. This person doesn't have only one activity, but you can see the address and activity and the measures has been pulled for this person. So if I go and maybe choose someone else, I might have more. And from here, you can also do more operations, right? So you can have buttons or like this, and you can capture this info into your some other system, right? You can expand the business scenario. The point here is this is pretty straightforward to consume the data into the Power Apps. So how I have done that is, you can see the data sources. There is a connector for Customer Insights. Once you have added the connector, it will prompt you the entities. You can choose any of the entities that we just it created. You see the unified customer, or the ingested data like e-commerce, POS, and or the the segment that we created, or the unified activities. Or if it's not displaying here, still you can just add the entity by giving this name. You can think this as an entity name. For example, if I wanna, let's say, get like brand affinity from Microsoft, right? I can just copy paste here and I can get that. That's how I have added the customer measures here. All right. So with that, since we are running out of time already, the final thing is, we can also use APIs for the customer insights. You can see that it offers wide range of APIs to know, from the creating, like you can also do any actions on the customer insights, or you can do any triggers, capture the trigger results, and you can send the status report or export and search. And thank you very much again to the organizers and the sponsors and all the speakers and mainly the attendees for supporting the event, and such a privilege to present in Scottish Summit. Thank you, everyone.